Hello guys, so now we shall be discussing regarding the peritoneum. Okay, so let us start from the basics of peritoneum and then we shall discuss regarding the peritoneum. Okay, so regarding this peritoneum, all of you have to know one very important thing, that peritoneum is one such very important thing in our body which covers your organs. Okay, so if there is any infection in the peritoneal fluid is completely sterile. If there is any little infection in the peritoneal fluid, that would lead to a condition called as peritonitis, where you will have peritoneal irritation. Okay, the abdomen becomes completely tender and all. I will discuss all those things, but now what you need to know is that let us start from the basics over here. Now we have got something called mesentery. We have got something called as parietal peritoneum, visceral peritoneum. What is this parietal, visceral and mesentery? Let us say that this is an organ. Okay, this is an organ, whatever it might be. I have just cut down the organ. Let us say this is the bowel loop, small intestine, large intestine. I have cut down that small intestine or large intestine, so it is in the form of a circle. Okay, now surrounding this, whatever I am drawing right now, which is attached to this organ, this is called as visceral peritoneum. What is this called? Visceral peritoneum. Now hanging on from this visceral peritoneum, this blue color structure which is coming out like this, this structure is called parietal peritoneum. Now then where is the body wall? See, this is your body wall. So this picture similarly looks like whenever you frequently get a CT scan report or an MRI report, right? If you get a CT scan report, you will see the section of the body. So let us say this is one of the section of the body. Now in this section, two important things we have got. So this is called as the body wall. You call this as a body wall. Okay. Then you call this blue color part as parietal peritoneum, parietal layer of peritoneum, right? Parietal peritoneum in the sense the peritoneum which is away is called as a parietal peritoneum, and the peritoneum which is covering the organ is called as a visceral peritoneum. So how many layers of peritoneum we have got? We have got two layers of peritoneum. One is called as parietal peritoneum, another one is called as a visceral peritoneum. Okay. Now all of you look here. There is a fold all the way that is attaching the organ all the way down till the body wall. Right. So what is this fold which is attached all the way from the organ till the body wall? This fold is called as a fold of peritoneum. This fold of peritoneum is what is called as your mesentery, right? So this is called as your mesentery. This is called as your mesentery. What is a mesentery? Mesentery is a fold of peritoneum that is attached all the way from the abdominal wall to the organ over here, right? So this is called as your mesentery. If this is a basic thing which you need to know, right? So if we go little bit detailed into this, what can we see here? I told you folds of peritoneum called as mesentery, right? So these folds, so actually there are three different types of folds of peritoneum. The folds of peritoneum are three different types. Then what is mesentery? Mesentery is one of the type. Out of these three, one of the type is mesentery. So folds of peritoneum are basically divided into three major groups. What are these three major groups? The first group, as I already discussed, mesentery. This is called as mesentery, right? This is called as mesentery, right? What is the other name for mesentery? Mesentery is also called as mesocolon, right? In your textbooks it will be, don't confuse with that. Mesentery is nothing but called as mesocolon. Next important fold you have got is the omentum. Next fold you have got is the omentum. And third important fold you have got is the ligaments. So there are three important folds of peritoneum. Some of the folds of peritoneum, they fold and become thick and form ligaments. Some of them form the omentum. There are two omenta. One is called as a greater omentum. Another one is called as a lesser omentum. And third one you call it as the mesentery or the mesocolon. Mainly this mesentery is present near the colon region. First let us discuss about this mesentery. Okay. Now in this mesentery, again the same important thing, I already told you this thing. You have got organ over here, right? You have got organ like this. in this way, right? Surrounding this, what do you have got? You have got your visceral peritoneum which is surrounding that, right? And after that, this fold of peritoneum which is hanging down attached to the rest of the body. This peritoneum over here is called as what? This peritoneum over here is called as your parietal peritoneum, and this green color sticks like thing which you can see over here, this is called as your mesentery, right? Now what usually happens to the mesentery? What usually happens to the mesentery is that, so as you can see over here, that we discussed about 3 different folds of peritoneum. One is called as mesentery or mesocolon. Next you have got what is the omentum, and then ligaments. We have got different types of mesocolons, different types of omentum as well as the ligaments. Now first we shall discuss one by one. Let us discuss about the mesentery over here, right? So let us discuss about the mesentery. So I am just going to give you a rough idea about what is mesentery over here. So mesentery we have already discussed over here, that let us say this is the organ over here, this is the organ. Now surrounding this organ you have got the visceral peritoneum, all of you know, and after that this part over here, which is hanging down is called as a mesentery, I told you, and this is your parietal peritoneum like this, Now this is a fold of peritoneum, this is not a bone, right, or this is not a cartilage or anything, this is just a sheath, right, a fibrous sheath, right? Now don't you think this fibrous sheath is weak? Can it bear that organ like that? No. So obviously this organ, it cannot, I mean this entire sheath whatever is there, it cannot hold the organ like this. So when it cannot hold the organ, either the organ will fall onto the right or it will fall onto the left, right? Let us say this organ is falling onto one side. Now when this organ is falling onto another side, this is how the picture looks. So let us say this is the organ over here, and this organ is falling onto one side like this. You see, it is falling onto one side, and what will happen finally? Finally this organ will rest on the parietal layer of peritoneum. Now when this organ will rest on the parietal layer of peritoneum, this is how it looks. It will rest, and finally what is happening? You see, this is what happens. So finally what happens is that this entire thing comes down and it rests on the floor here, floor in the sense the parietal layer of peritoneum, and finally this visceral layer and this parietal layer, they both get absorbed. So this is what is happening. The visceral layer and the parietal layer both got absorbed, okay, and now this organ is behind the visceral layer and behind the parietal layer only, yes or no? For example, if I hold this organ and if I bring this organ out like this, now where is this organ? It is located behind the visceral and behind the peritoneal. So can I tell this organ is a retroperitoneal? Why? Because it is behind the peritoneum, right? So these organs are called as retroperitoneal organs, okay, right? So this is general introduction about the mesentery. Now second important thing is regarding the omentum. Now in the omentum, how many different types of omentum we have got? In the omentum, how many different types of omentum we have got? Okay, there are 3 different types of omentum. What are these 3 different types of omentum? One is called as your greater omentum. One is called as your greater omentum. One is called as your lesser omentum. Okay, one is called as your gastrosplenic omentum. Gastrosplenic omentum. So how many omentums we have got? We have got 3 different types of omentums. One is called as a greater omentum, another one is called as the lesser omentum, another one is called as the gastrosplenic omentum. Now what is this greater omentum, what is this lesser omentum, and what is this gastrosplenic omentum? We shall write about those things down over here. Let us say this is your stomach. Let us say this is your stomach, okay. Now after that, let me also put the liver over here. This is your liver, okay, and let us also tell that this is your spleen. This is your spleen, and you know that this is the colon. If you have watched my videos on regions of the abdomen, you will understand this. What colon is this? This is your transverse colon. This is your transverse colon, and all of you should definitely know that here you have got your diaphragm. Right, so here you have got your diaphragm like this, okay. Now First of all, what is greater omentum, what is lesser omentum, what is gastrosplenic omentum? Now, greater omentum in the sense, it is a fold of peritoneum, whatever it is, whether it might be omentum, whether it might be ligament, whether it might be mesentery, all of them are folds of peritoneum. So, if a fold of peritoneum is attaching stomach to the transverse colon, let me write it down that this is your transverse colon. So, if anything is attaching from the stomach, if a fold of peritoneum is attaching the stomach to the transverse colon, this is called as greater omentum. What is this called? This is called as greater omentum. Okay, this is called as greater omentum. For example, let us say if stomach is attached with the help of the folds of peritoneum, if these folds of peritoneum are joining both the stomach as well as the liver over here, so this is called as your lesser omentum. What is this called as? This is called as lesser omentum. So greater omentum is finished, lesser omentum is finished, and third one is gastrosplenic omentum. The name itself says that it is attached all the way from the stomach. There is a fold of peritoneum between the stomach and the spleen. So this is called as gastrosplenic omentum. Gastrosplenic omentum. So we have got three important types of omentum over here. One is called as the lesser omentum, one is called as a greater omentum, and the next one is called as a gastrosplenic omentum. Okay, so these are the three important omentums which you can see here. Now, after the discussion of omentum, and the last one we have got is a ligament. Now, let us see roughly what are the different kinds of ligaments which you have got. So, let me draw up a rough picture of that. So, again, this is, let us say, your stomach and the duodenum, and here you have got your spleen like this, and this is your left kidney, right? This is your left kidney, and here let us say that here you have got your liver, okay? And obviously not to forget that this is your what? This part over here is your diaphragm. This is your diaphragm. Why the diaphragm is dome shaped? See, right side dome shaped is called as right hemidiaphragm, left side dome shaped is called as left hemidiaphragm. Right. Now, what are the ligaments which you are telling? Ligaments in the sense, there is a ligament that is attached all the way from the liver to the diaphragm. Okay, first of all, I should write this as a diaphragm. So, this one over here is your diaphragm. So, there is a ligament that is attached all the way from the liver to the diaphragm like this. Okay, to the diaphragm like this. So, this ligament over here is called as a coronary ligament. What is this ligament called? Coronary ligament. Next, if there is a ligament between the stomach as well as the spleen, ligament between the stomach as well as the spleen like this. So, this ligament over here is called as gastrosplenic ligament. If there is a ligament between the spleen as well as, let us say, what is this part over here? Kidney. Spleen as well as the kidney, this ligament is called as leno-renal ligament. Leno in the sense spleen, renal ligament, leno-renal ligament. Okay, so these are some of the just three ligaments. There are much more. I just want to give you an introduction of what are these ligaments over here. So I have drawn this. So let us say this ligament over here is called as gastrosplenic ligament. Okay, this ligament over here is called as leno-renal ligament, and this ligament over here is called as a coronary ligament. Why are you calling it as coronary? Because it is present on the top of the liver, crown of the liver. So crown is called coronary ligaments. So we have actually discussed what are the different folds of peritoneum. In the different folds of peritoneum, we mainly focused on the mesentery, which is also called as mesocolon. We have discussed about the omentum. We even have discussed about the ligaments. Okay. Now coming to the mesentery, I told you the example over here, right? So next, omentum, we have got three types of omentum: greater, lesser, and gastrosplenic omentum. So these are the things. Then we discussed about the ligaments. What are the three ligaments we have got? We have got the coronary ligament, we have got the gastrosplenic, we have got the lienorenal ligament. So these are all the important things which you need to know regarding the folds of peritoneum. So thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.